let's talk about something that so many of us, especially in South Asian communities, tend to brush off as just a really bad headache. Just sir dard. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see why a migraine is in a completely different league. It's a complex neurological condition, and really getting what that means is the first step to getting control.
So this is the big question, right? Is that absolutely crushing pain in your head just something you're supposed to tough out? Or is it actually a full-on neurological event happening inside your brain? I think the answer is going to change how you see this forever.
And the scale of this, wow, it's huge. 1 out of every 7 people on the planet suffers from migraines. Just let that sink in for a second. Think about your office, your group of friends, your family. If there are 14 people there, chances are at least 2 of them know exactly what this feels like. This is not some rare thing. It's a massive global health issue.
And here's the absolute key. Medically speaking, a migraine isn't a symptom. It's a neurological disorder. What's happening is that the pain pathways in your brain are basically hypersensitive. They're going into overdrive. This isn't about tight muscles in your neck. It's about the very wiring of your brain firing off like crazy.
Okay, so in this first part, we're going to get right into it. What exactly separates a regular old tension headache from a truly debilitating migraine attack? Because knowing the difference is absolutely crucial to getting the right kind of help.
This table lays it out so clearly. You know a common headache, right? It's that dull, annoying pressure, usually on both sides of your head. But a migraine? That's a whole different beast. It's a pulsating, throbbing pain, and a lot of the time it's camped out on just one side of your head. And while a headache is usually just pain, a migraine brings along its nasty friends, nausea and this insane sensitivity to light and sound.
I mean, how perfect is this description, often used in Urdu, chaki chal rahi ho? It so perfectly captures that feeling. It's not a steady pain. It's this relentless, grinding, pulsating feeling, like there's a machine whirring away inside your skull. That's what makes it so consuming.
So, on top of that unique pain, you get this whole constellation of symptoms. The sensitivity to light and sound is so extreme that many people literally have to lock themselves in a dark, silent room. The nausea can be just overwhelming. And maybe the worst part? These attacks aren't just a half-hour thing. They can knock you out for anywhere from 4 hours to 3 full days.
Now, if you take away just one thing from this section, let it be this. The single defining feature of a migraine is that totally normal everyday movements, like walking up a flight of stairs or bending down to pick something up, make the pain explode. That's what turns it from just a bad headache into a crippling, full-body experience.
Okay, so we've got a handle on what a migraine feels like. But let's move on to the really big question. Why does this even happen? We're going to go from the symptoms to the science and look at what's going on in the brain and the everyday things that can trigger an attack.
You see, for about 20 to 30% of people who get migraines, the attack doesn't just start with pain. Nope. It starts with a bizarre warning sign called an aura. It might begin just like this, suddenly seeing flashing lights that aren't actually there.
And then it can get even weirder. Those flashing lights might morph into these shimmering zigzag lines that just float across whatever you're trying to look at, making it almost impossible to see or focus. And finally, you might even get temporary blind spots in your vision. These aren't just random spooky symptoms. This is your brain sending out a direct signal that a neurological storm is brewing and the main headache is on its way. So what is actually going on deep inside the brain? Well, it's like a complex chain reaction. It involves an imbalance of brain chemicals like serotonin, the firing up of a major nerve pathway called the trigeminal nerve, and something called neurogenic inflammation. And here's the big one. For many, it's literally in their DNA. If one of your parents has migraines, your own risk can double or even triple. And the crazy thing is how many of the triggers are just normal parts of daily life. It's not some rare, exotic thing. It can be stress from work, a bad night's sleep, or even too much sleep, skipping lunch because you're busy, or even just a hot, humid day. Figuring out your personal triggers is one of the most powerful things you can possibly do. All right, we've talked about the what and the why. Now for the most important part, what on earth can we do about it? In this section, let's dive into the modern, effective toolkit that's available for both treating and preventing migraines. There is hope here. So, the best way to manage migraines is with a 3-part strategy. First, you need a plan for acute treatment, what you do the second you feel an attack coming on. Second, if you get them a lot, you need a preventative game plan. And third, the foundation for all of it, is your daily lifestyle management.
So for those immediate attacks, medicines can range from simple NSAIDs to super effective prescription drugs called triptans. And for prevention, doctors have a whole arsenal of options now, from beta blockers to amazing cutting-edge CGRP inhibitors and even Botox for really chronic cases. The point is, real, effective medical treatments are out there.
And this is your daily defense system. Seriously, don't underestimate this stuff. These aren't just nice suggestions, they are powerful preventative tools. A rock-solid sleep schedule, drinking enough water, getting some regular exercise, and finding ways to manage stress, these things can fundamentally change your life with migraines.
Okay, in our final section, we're going to focus on one of the single most empowering tools anyone with migraines can use. It's so simple, it's practical, and it puts you in the driver's seat of your own health.
It's the migraine diary. It seems simple, but it's a game changer. By just tracking when attacks happen, what you ate that day, how you slept, your stress levels, you start to see patterns emerge. You basically become a detective in your own case. And that information is pure gold for you and your doctor to figure out your specific triggers and what actually works to bring you relief.
So let's bring it all home, back to where we started. If there is one thing you take away from all of this, please let it be this. A migraine is not a character flaw. It's not a sign of weakness or something you just need to push through. It is a real, legitimate, and most importantly, a treatable neurological condition.
And that really just leaves us with one final question for you. If any of what we talked about today sounds painfully familiar for you or for someone you love, the next step isn't just to endure it, it's to take action. So what is your next step toward taking control?